All right, let's move on. Going back to the Romney-Trump feud, we were wondering about the last time a party's former nominee had criticized a current frontrunner. It was 1960 when Harry Truman had this to say about a U.S. senator from Massachusetts named John F. Kennedy.
Senator Kennedy has demonstrated ability, capacity, and energy to play an important and continuing role in the party and in this government of ours. I've always liked him personally, and I still do. And because of this feeling, I want to say to him at this time, and I'm going to quote a statement that I'm making to Senator Kennedy. Senator, are you certain that you are quite ready for the country, or the country is ready for you, in the role of president in January 1961? I have no doubt about the political heights to which you are destined to rise, but I'm deeply concerned and troubled about the situation we are up against in the world now and in the immediate future. That is why I hope that someone with the greatest possible maturity and experience would be available at this time. May I urge you to be patient.
And here is how Kennedy responded.
In response, let me say, I do not intend to step aside at anyone's request. I was the only candidate to risk my chances in all the primaries, the only one to visit every state. I have encountered and survived every kind of hazard and opposition, and I do not intend to withdraw my name now on the eve of the convention.
We should note that after Kennedy got the nomination, Truman did endorse him and campaigned with him in the fall. And by the way, this is how some newspapers covered that back and forth on the eve of the 1960 Democratic Convention. All right, so panel, interesting to hear the discourse. Do you think it's changed?
Not at all. I mean, it reminds me of 1964 and Barry Goldwater, the whole thing, and you had that, you know, Mitt Romney's father, you had Governor Scranton, you had the Rockefellers all saying they wouldn't endorse, and the big after effect of that, I mean, there's always been kind of a disgruntled effort. The question is, does it come back around? I think it does change the dynamic of a party and the people that are ultimately in it.
But did the battle play out differently back in, back in those days? I mean, it seems coarse now, certainly, by standards. No,
I think politics is always coarse.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we always think this year's the worst year, and it always gets worse.
Pretty rough.
It always gets worse, though. I mean, it's politics is not beanbag. It's a blood sport. In fact, I would argue that this has had the least number of negative attack ads of any Republican primary in modern history. Right? These guys have not gone after each other for a sustained long period of time. They just got around to it. When they, shock and surprise, woke up and realized Donald Trump wasn't just some figment of their imagination, he was sticking around and may even win a nomination. I think what you see now is just a panic. Mitt Romney, as a former nominee, has an obligation to some degree to stay out of it. The reason there hasn't been this kind of exchange since 1964 is there's sort of an unwritten rule of former nominees, is that you don't meddle in the party's affairs after you've been the nominee unless you're trying to be the nominee again. Now, maybe Mitt wants to be the nominee again. We don't know what his motivation is. He didn't endorse anybody. He stopped short of actually digging in. But it is unusual for the nominee to play in a cycle that he's not on the ballot. And so John McCain didn't get involved in the nomination contest for Mitt Romney until it was clear Mitt Romney had secured the nomination. Previous nominees had not played in the campaign. Even George H.W. Bush didn't play in the campaign for his son against John McCain in 2000. So this is an extraordinary thing. I think you're right to bring it up and compare it to history because it doesn't happen very often.